Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're taking something that usually feels like a dry, dusty IT manual and turning it into a full-blown investigative procedural. We're unpacking the official ServiceNow problem management process guide, and we're covering the whole shebang, from the moment a problem is created to the final closure of the file. If you've ever felt like your IT service management operations could use, say, a little more Sherlock Holmes and a lot less chaos, well, you're in the exact right place.
Let me ask you something, and honestly, be real with me. Have you ever stared at your team's ticket queue and just thought, why on earth do we keep fixing the exact same issue? Do you feel like you're just constantly putting out the exact same fires day after day, week after week? You know the ones, that recurring server crash, that same application timeout that keeps haunting you? If you're nodding your head right now, you are experiencing the exact pain point that problem management was literally designed to solve. In fact, industry data shows IT teams can waste up to 40% of their time just managing and responding to recurring issues. It's wild.
So to actually stop these fires, we got to get our terms straight. In the ServiceNow framework, a problem isn't just, a really bad Monday. The official definition is the underlying cause or suspected cause of one or more incidents. And this is a vital distinction. We are separating the surface-level symptoms, the things that actually break and disrupt the user, from the deep-rooted root cause. Think of it like this. The incident is the massive puddle of water on your floor, but the problem is the leaky pipe hidden behind the wall.
Okay, let's dive into this comparison, because this right here sets up our entire operating model. Think of incident management as your first responders. Their only job, their entire focus, is to restore service as quickly as humanly possible. Put water on the fire. Problem management, on the other hand, are the detectives. They don't just want to put the fire out, they want to investigate the root cause, figure out how the fire started in the first place, and completely prevent it from ever happening again.
And that brings us to a core principle pulled straight from the process guide: prevent recurrence. A problem should identify and remove or reduce the underlying cause of one or more incidents, not simply restore service. The ultimate goal of our investigation is prevention. Period. Everything we do in ServiceNow, every task we assigned, every single log we analyze is driving toward this one specific outcome. And getting this right, it ultimately saves the business time, money, and its hard-earned reputation.
Here's our agenda for today. 1. Fixing causes, not symptoms. 2. Meet your problem management team. 3. The 9-step life cycle. 4. Documentation standards. And 5. Governance and KPIs.
Section 1. Meet your problem management team. Investigating complex issues absolutely requires a clear RACI matrix, meaning we need to know exactly who is responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. What's really interesting here is how it assigns specific narrative roles. Your problem coordinator, they're your lead detective. They are the operational owner who actually works the problem record and coordinates the investigation. The subject matter expert or task analyst is your forensics expert in the lab. They're the ones performing the deep dive root cause analysis. And the problem manager, they're the police captain. They own the governance, they act as the quality gate for closure, and they track all the overall metrics.
Section 2. The 9-step life cycle.
Now, this timeline gives us a really solid, realistic sense of a standard problem investigation mapped out to the high-level ServiceNow state model. We move from new and assess on day 1, dive into root cause analysis, transition to fix in progress once we actually know what to do, and finally reach resolved and closed. Sticking to these target timelines prevents problems from just languishing in the queue for months, which, let's be honest, is a super common trap for busy IT teams. Of course, there are alternative outcomes. Sometimes a problem is marked as a duplicate or canceled or closed as risk accepted. But this right here is our ideal happy path to a permanent fix.
Let's break down this intake phase. Step 1 is create the problem. This could trigger from a major incident, recurring issues, or even proactive trend analysis. Step 2 is triage and assign, making sure the file gets routed to the right group based on the affected service or configuration item. Step 3 is assess, where we validate if this is actually a real issue. A huge tip from the guide here: when creating the record, use a template to write a clear problem statement as a root cause investigation topic. Don't just copy over a symptom-only ticket title from an incident. For example, instead of writing "email is down," a proper problem statement should be something like "Investigation into memory leak on Exchange Server 04 causing intermittent email outages." Next up, we enter the forensics lab phase. Step 4 is conducting that root cause analysis, or RCA. This is where we create problem tasks for our SMEs to use methods like the 5 whys or fishbone diagrams. And using the 5 whys means literally asking, why did this happen 5 consecutive times, until you drill way past the surface symptoms and find the true mechanical or process failure. Step 5 is documenting a workaround. Think of this as a temporary patch to stop the bleeding and restore service while that deep investigation continues. And step 6 is taking that workaround and creating a known error article to deflect future incidents right in the knowledge base.
Now, speaking of workarounds, the absolutely crucial point here is that a workaround must be documented clearly enough for the beat cops, your service desk agents, to apply it consistently. The guide outlines the bare minimum content required: clear symptoms, step-by-step instructions, any risks or limitations, and exactly who the target audience is. If your workaround just says restart the server without specifying exactly which services to check first or what the risks are, it's just not helpful, and it will inevitably lead to mistakes.
To wrap up our lifecycle narrative, we hit steps 7 through 9. Step 7 is planning and implementing the permanent fix. This almost always involves creating or linking a normal or emergency change request. You can think of the change request as the permanent sentence to our problem. Step 8 is validation. And validation isn't just asking, hey, is it fixed? It involves actively reviewing server logs and monitoring tools for 24 to 48 hours to ensure the fix didn't inadvertently break something else entirely. Finally, step 9 is resolve and complete, where the problem manager steps in and performs a final quality gate review.
All right, section 3, documentation and closure standards.
The guide is super explicit about this. Document as you go. I absolutely love this quote. Workaround, cause notes, fix notes, risk acceptance should be captured before advancing state. In any investigation, waiting until the very end to write up your report just leads to missing evidence. You have to capture the details exactly as they happen to maintain a rock-solid, complete evidence trail of linked incidents, tasks, and changes.
Which leads us to a pretty hard-hitting best practice. Honestly, if it's not documented in ServiceNow, it simply didn't happen. The system needs to be your single source of truth. However, the guide offers a massive warning here about data standards. Do not paste sensitive logs, secrets, access tokens, or personal data into your work notes. Seriously, do not paste full error logs that might contain customer passwords, API tokens, or personally identifiable information. Instead, attach sanitized evidence to maintain a clean and secure trail.
So before the problem manager can officially close out the case file, they run through this closure checklist. They verify the problem statement is clear, all problem tasks are completed or canceled, change requests are linked, and fix notes are captured. Also, notice the really critical risk acceptance pathway here. Sometimes a permanent fix is just way too costly or risky to implement. If so, the rationale, the risk owner, and the review date must be fully documented and approved before closure. Risk acceptance usually requires a business stakeholder, not just IT, to sign off on the decision that the financial or operational cost of implementing the fix actually outweighs the cost of just dealing with the recurring incidents.
Section 4, measuring success and governance.
Now this brilliantly illustrates why a weekly problem backlog review is so critical. By visualizing the backlog by state, the problem manager can prioritize high-impact problems, ensure resources are allocated effectively, and catch tasks that are aging out or just getting completely stuck in the root cause analysis state for way too long. It's all about keeping the investigations moving forward.
Ultimately, though, the true metric of success, it's incident recurrence post-fix. If problem management is actually working, you should see a steady, dramatic drop in recurring incidents once a permanent fix is effectively implemented. Month 1 might be high before the fix, month 2 drops as the change is applied, and by month 3, we hit 0. That right there is the visual representation of preventing recurrence.
To actually achieve that drop, the guide recommends tracking these specific KPIs. We're looking at the speed and effectiveness of the team, mean time to assess, mean time to achieve RCA, and mean time to ultimately resolve. Notice we measure both mean time to RCA and mean time to resolve. This is a huge distinction. You might find the root cause in 3 days, but if it takes 3 months to schedule the change window to fix it, well, your resolution time is what the business actually feels. We also measure known error coverage, meaning what percentage of our problems have a documented workaround to help the service desk out, and the change success rate for our problem fixes, making sure our solutions don't just cause more rollbacks.
So look,
Despite all the 9 steps we just went through, the different personas, the RACI matrices, the closure checklists, and the charts, there is exactly one overarching goal in this entire ServiceNow problem management process. Just one true north, and that is stopping recurrence.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought as you look at your own IT operations. Are you just going to keep putting out the exact same fires every single day? Or are you ready to embrace the detective mindset, leverage the ServiceNow workflow we just explained, and finally catch the arsonist? The tools are all there, the process is perfectly defined, now it's time to investigate. Thanks for learning with me today on this explainer.